That's a big building and it's made out of concrete. Why would they be tearing it down?
I mean, how long do you think this exterior is going to take?
We're thinking that we need that machine for 1 month. That'll get it down to the point where this machine can do the rest of the work.
It's a big day for us, you know, the anticipated day to start tearing this building down, which will be tomorrow, and we're going to go live for the first time.
This is the Strandview teardown. This is a 7-story building. We're taking the building down because Hurricane Ian damaged the building to the point where it cannot be repaired in a cost-effective manner. This building has affected a lot of families. When they left, most of them left most everything that they had in the building. These are second homes for most people. We're gonna show you the process, everything from getting the building, cleaning it out, all the way through the whole process of tearing it down and hauling it away. It's Remove It Pro's Demolition, and welcome to the journey.
I try my best not to do any more than half of
Just pick this up and we'll just slide the whole thing over. Keep going. That gives them room to be able to dip. Okay, so what we're dealing with here is we have, we got to get this hydraulic fluid out of here. Otherwise, when we tear this, he's going to start with these towers. So here, go ahead with this. And here, this is going to go faster than anything into that. I'll have them find you some more of those. Hey, go find 2 more of those or 3 more with no holes in the bottoms. Okay, so what we're dealing with now is this is a hydraulic fluid for the elevator, and we have to get this out of here in order to tear these towers down. This is where Colton wants to start. If you take a look up here, he wants to take the staircases down first. Now, I didn't ask him why, but that's what he wants to do. So that, so everybody, right, you see him? He's putting the machine up there, just giving it a test, making sure everything's working, making sure the water's going to squirt, and pretty impressive stuff. So we're working on getting this out of here as quick as we can. All right. it's mainly water. That's cool, right?
Yeah, I could probably get all I need is stool.
You need a stool?
If you give me another can.
There's a stool. That'll work. Yeah, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up, you see the water line on the back of this thing? This water line right here, we're going to hook the water line up to this. We tapped into the water yesterday, and water from here to here, and then it'll squirt and knock down the dust as we go. So basically we're down to like the last nitty gritty. Wing News is going to be here about between 10 and 11, and that's pretty much it. So all I got to do is get that out of there. Most of that's just water, so that's working out in our favor, and we just got to get it all out of there. Otherwise it makes a mess. You get oil everywhere, and we don't want that. Okay, so the hydraulic fluid would be a problem if we left it in the container in there. So they got the machine hooked up, they got the water hooked up to it. We're waiting to get this 40-yarder out of the way. We got to get this out of the way. This is all the hydraulic fluid that came out. And then what we need to do now is we're going to make a double check. We're going to walk through the building real quick. We're going to look for two things. We're looking for human beings, and we're looking for tools that the guys might have left behind. So we're going to go do that right now. And the guys are getting the fence over here, and they're getting our fence so we don't waste it. And they're going to bring it over here and get it out of the way. And then that dumpster's got to go. We're going to move this. These guys are going to go to another job site. We've got the building pretty much cleaned out, and Colton's going to be ready to start here within, say, probably the next half hour. We're going to start at the top and then walk our way down, and that way when we're done, we know that there's nobody that came in after us. Okay, so what we're doing is we're looking to make sure there's nobody in this building. And look at this. Did somebody spend the night in here last night or what? I don't know. We didn't have it set up like this last night, and that was not in this room, it was in the other room. So I don't know. First of all, I'm looking for tools because the guys have a tendency to leave tools places. And I'm looking for making sure there's nobody in the building. So the guys did a really good job. If you think about it, we just hand stripped 5-6 floors of a high rise and threw it all out the window. So there's a little bit of stuff left, but there's not much left. So this is floor 6. So this is floor 7 actually. Now we're going down to floor 6. Okay. Okay, floor 6 itself. All right, again, we're checking for tools. There is a little bit of scrap metal that's still in the building, but we're ready to tear it down. That machine's 50 grand a month. We're not gonna wait. So, all right, this looks good too. So as the owner of a company, you learn to double check and go look, because you don't want one of your demo hammers or something to get stuck up here. And through miscommunication and different silly things that happen, things like that do happen. So this is floor 6. We're going to floor 5. We hate to have somebody freaked out up here, scared to leave because he doesn't want to get found out. This is the unit that they came in and they did a structural change to the building. And if you look at what they did, I'd say right on. I'd say they structurally they protected the building when they did this. They weren't just haphazard about it. Otherwise, what they would have done is just open this up, and there would be nothing to give structural support for the door opening, which would carry the weight of these panels, these concrete panels. So the guys that did it, they did it. I don't think they harmed the building though. It looks like it was done right, or done adequately. Obviously, I'm not a structural engineer. So we got a little bit of stuff left up in here. A lot more than what Mike said, but it's all good. All right, so nothing on this end. Let's look out here real quick. So they have a parade of trucks coming in here, picking up all of this muck that they got off of the beaches. And they have been doing this all night long. I was up very, very early. I was up here. They were up here running. There would spend as many as 10 trucks standing that way in line. They back up, these guys load them up, and off they go. And that's all that seaweed that was on the beach. These guys are on, man. They'll be done with that in a couple hours. And it was a lot. All right, there's nothing in that one. No tools, no humans. Okay, so now we are to number 3. Again, check it for tools, check it for humans. All right, you guys are good. All right, that's good. Hold that open for just a second while I open the next one. All right, so that's it. We're looking here, there's nothing here. Got a couple fishing poles here. Actually, they're all rotted out. You can see the seawater ruined them. All right, so that's it. So we're gonna be tearing this baby down. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, that's good. We're clear to demo. There's nobody up in there and we didn't leave any tools. So good job. Okay, so here we are. We're getting ready to get started. You would think you could just show up and just get started, but that's not the way construction stuff works. So this situation right now, Colton's got a plan in his mind. He knows where he's going to put stuff. He knows where he's going to have his trucks. He wants the site clean. He wants everybody off of it so he doesn't have to worry about who's around. Now, what's he doing right now? He's cleaning up the mess we left from bringing stuff out of the building. What he's doing is he's making sure that this concrete stays clean. So he's getting all that stuff. So he moved the machine way back there and we thought, whoa, man, was he starting back there? No, he's going to start right here on these towers. He told me that, and he's got a reason for him. I didn't ask him, okay? I didn't ask him. He's one of those guys that he's got a plan, okay? And his plan is going to work, so I trust him on that. So he moved the machine back there to get this debris out of the way. He's getting the debris all put into a pile so that when the 30-yard dumpster gets here, he'll be able to pile that in the dumpster while they get this one out of here. Then he's going to take that dumpster, he's going to put it right here, and every time he gets something that's small, that's not concrete, he's going to put it on in the dumpster. So that's how he's going to keep it nice and organized. Today's a big day. See the way he's setting this down here to get that to lift up, and then to watch this thing disconnect. These are things people never get to see. Okay. All right, so what he's doing right now is we're getting another machine here because some of these pieces are going to come off. And he doesn't want to have to worry about moving them around with that machine. Every now and then he'll get off and he'll move them around with this. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it. I don't think he's got enough room. All right, so what they're going to do next is they're going to get this machine off the trailer. Then he's going to get the trailer out of here. He's getting the 30-yarder out of here, and off we go, off to the races. Then we get started. This trailer right here that we're working on, it cost $100,000 brand new. So it's something we did. We went kind of, when we did this, we went kind of all out. We wanted to make sure we could control what's going on. I don't have to wait for somebody to come pick the machine up and move it. So we got 2 roll-off trucks, a whole bunch of cans, and we've got this trailer and two 323s, a smaller excavator, and 3 skid steers. So that's good. First time, that's good. Nice job, buddy. All right, so we'll go over and shut the fence. He'll be pulling out of here in just a second. He's faster on these machines than these other guys. We had that younger guy. He's not as experienced. He's cleaning all this stuff up. And what took that other guy all day to do, me or him, we've been running these little skid steers forever. You could run them, you know, I could clean that up in 20 minutes. He was at it all day long. So he's learning, and you can't take that away from him. He's got to learn. If I didn't spend my hours and hours and hours and hours on that stuff, I wouldn't be any good at it. Now, this stuff here, I can run it, but I'm running it. I don't operate it like he does.
So, do you think he would have been faster if he was using the red one? Because it's...
Oh, absolutely. He hates that.
He told me that.
So this machine is, we bought it after the hurricane, and we couldn't get a machine quick enough to get started. And we really didn't get a good deal on it or anything, but it's always broken down. It's just not, they're just not high use machines. I don't know that.
They're good for moving stuff around in the shop.
It just seems like it's always broke. Now that Takeuchi, a lot of the stuff that we bought, Colton had his own business for a while. It's all the dream equipment that he wanted to buy. And we could afford to buy it, and we bought it because we want to be efficient and fast, and because that's what we do. We get in, we get out. We price things very aggressively so that we can get the jobs. So that puts the pressure on you to make sure that you get the jobs done in a timely manner, or you get the gift of not making any money, which is a good way to go out of business.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So, but at any rate, it's kind of fun. We've had. We got 8 weeks invested in this building at this point, and it's kind of exciting to get to today. And I'm gonna go over here and help Colton. You got it? You want me to grab one in?
I got it. There's 2 more under there.
So if you have any questions you want to ask, or you want us to show you something, or whatever, this is our first live. We don't know what we don't know. So we'll know what, by the time we're done with this, we'll know a little bit more. So it's Dave Lockwood, and it's Remove It Pros Demolition, and this is Fort Myers Beach. We're real close to the Publix. If you know Fort Myers Beach, we're in the middle of the island. And next door, they are cleaning up all that nasty seaweed, and it smells so bad that everybody here has complained about it. Of course, I can't smell anything, so I don't know. I don't smell it, but it smells really bad. That is a 50-ton machine. Our machine is over here. It's a 323. We got that here just for when big pieces come off and he wants to move it. He don't want to spend the time moving it around with this machine that's not really set up for it. That doesn't have a bucket and a thumb like this has. It just has a pincher, and it's got a very limited amount of range. So 75 foot is how far that can reach. That one can reach 35 foot. Can you even see that over there? Our other machine over there? No, okay. All right, so that's pretty much it. So right now we're getting the water hooked up, and I'm gonna go over when he gets started and shut the gates, and I don't know much else to say other than this is really cool. See a big building like this. You don't see buildings like this being torn down very often. You got something, Colton?
All right, I'm gonna need somebody, if I have to move back, somebody's gonna have to keep an eye on the water hose, except he is not here yet.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get somebody else down here for you. Okay, push it first.
Run, here we go.
I want to have an evacuation route. Yeah. It's okay. Hudson's just the cabinet, the computer guy.
You got an umbrella protection.
notice, you see how the cab is extended up? What that does is it allows the operator to have a better field of vision. And looking at this from this angle, it's truly impressive what you're doing. He's literally got something that weighs 2 tons on the end of a stick, 65 feet up in the air, that has the ability to take concrete and just crush it. And you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's what we're going to do with this building. We're just going to take one little bite at a time. What he's doing right now is he's getting that staircase out of there. There's water blowing up there. Knock down the dust. It's working pretty good. And yep, it's just a tedious, slow-moving process from here. I'm at a wedding in Indianapolis. I meet somebody who loves our channel. He asked me a bunch of questions. He said, you know what I really want to know is why are you tearing that big building down? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you why they're tearing this down. Now this is my opinion. I'm not a structural engineer. I have done a lot of structural repairs over the years in my rehabbing and stuff like that. I've done quite a bit of it. And not being a structural engineer, but standing there and listening to them say the same things over and over and over. So let me show you some of the stuff on this building. So when we showed up here, and we'll show you a picture of this, there was a big metal frame put up on this corner. Now what I wondered about that is that sensationalism? Did it really need to be here? So here's why they did it. Now whether or not it really needed to be done, well, I don't have a crystal ball and I'm not the structural engineer, but I will show you this. You see this little piece right here? Okay, that little piece there from the building getting pushed on back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You see how the rebar's really rusted? What happens when the rebar rusts, it expands. When it expands, it pushes on the concrete. So right here, is this dangerous? Yes, it is. But how dangerous is it? Okay, we're standing really close to it because we know after beating these buildings apart with a machine that you literally have to beat on them to get them to come apart. So could this come apart right now and just fall on top of us? Yes. The likelihood of that happening because of rebar is very, very slim, very low. Okay, hey, so check that thing out. That big old machine, look at it. It's cutting a piece of rebar. It cuts it just like a piece of, like a bolt cutter, a gigantic bolt cutter. It's also, if you look at it, it's reaching about 65 feet up. That building's 65 foot tall. And just mulching the concrete like it's nothing. And it's pulling and cutting the rebar as it goes. So right now he's pulling down those staircases. There's a lot of metal in the staircases. And he's getting them away from the building, so the building's just a building to tear down.
What you're now doing today?
Okay, so basically that is a 50-ton machine, which is about twice the size of our machine. It's got the reach of 75 feet. It telescopes up and it has a pinching claw on it. That thing will cut through rebar, it'll cut through concrete, and we're literally going to take this down like you're eating an elephant, just one little bite at a time. So Colton there, he's a very experienced operator. Some of the neighbors here were concerned for their houses that are 150 feet away, and we were explaining to them it's going to come apart in little tiny pieces and fall to the ground. So what he's doing is getting the staircases out of the way so he can get to the building. That's what he's doing for today.
Yeah, so you said that the interior took around 8 weeks.
So we came in here 8 weeks ago. We took out all the windows, which were about 3 years old. We took out the kitchens that were reusable, all the furniture that was reusable. We had a church come in and they took everything that they could get. And they have a thrift store in Bonita. We also have a store where we resell cabinets, appliances, all that. We got a bunch of stoves, refrigerators, washers, dryers, and all that. All that stuff would normally just be torn down with the building and they would just leave it in it. So it costs more money. We're hoping there's more profit at the end of it. The people had already left and said, that's it, we're done with this stuff. So every one of these units from the first floor, inhabitable floor up, has been stripped back to block.
And I mean, how long do you think this exterior is going to take?
We're thinking that we need that machine for 1 month. That'll get it down to the point where this machine can do the rest of the work. So we're thinking, we don't know. We don't tear these down all the time. There's not buildings of this size being torn down in Florida very often. So we don't know. It just depends on how well it was constructed. Our guess at what he's done so far, I'd say 4 weeks.
And obviously with specifically today now, how long do you think you're going to be out here, and how long do you think, I guess, how much progress do you think you're going to make?
My guess is his goal is to get all this metal out of here, and that's the staircases coming down. He's going to try to get these 2 towers down today. That's his goal.
So do you think you'll be out here till 4 or 5?
Probably 5 or 6, yeah. And then he'll work tomorrow, and we'll work Saturdays until we get this thing down. It's just because the machine cost is so high. It's 50 grand for a month.
So, like I was also just talking about before about, you know, why this building is getting taken down. Can you kind of go into that a little bit?
Okay, so this building, on the 50% rule, it would have cost too much to rebuild it. There's some major problems with the building from being a general contractor for 30 years. Some of the flooring panels were coming apart. The concrete was disintegrating on the first floor. There were holes that were poked up inside of these units from the hurricane, and that should have never happened. Over here on this corner, the building had dropped an inch. I don't think the building was ever in any sort of situation where it was going to fall over, but too costly to repair. And if that concrete on those floors are coming apart the way that we think it is, I don't have a crystal ball, you can see a lot of spidering. Somebody could literally be eating lunch and the next thing you know, they're sitting on their car hood. You know, it just bust out. So this unit over here, there was literally, the whole floor was gone and was concrete, like that.
Crazy. And I mean, I guess for the people, you said that they came in, they got what they wanted, and then they headed out. I mean, what was the reaction mostly from those who you saw kind of going in and out?
I only talked to one, and he had a whole year where he was disoriented because he didn't have a car, didn't have the money to go buy a car. All of his money was tied up in this unit here. So he's got his wheels back on. They're not like they were. He doesn't live on a beachfront property anymore. So what's going to happen here is they'll end up splitting the insurance money, and then they'll sell this property, and then they'll split that up, and then that's all they're going to get. And this is being sold to someone else who's going to develop it. Now, the city of Fort Myers Beach has made some noises like they may want to try to purchase it and join it with Newton Park.
Yeah.
Now, I talked to the mayor about that. He said it's a stretch. It'll be a hard thing to do. How you like that? Big, gigantic piece of concrete. So he's pulling the staircases out, and they're metal.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That machine's pulling that stuff apart like it's just nothing.
Yeah, I believe it.
We need to go get you a mask.
Yeah, I'm like blocking it right now.
All right.
And then I guess also, do you have any inkling as to what this potentially could be turning into, or is it just going to be an empty lot for a while?
I have no idea. I know I live here on Fort Myers Beach. I'm watching what people are doing. They don't want these big developments. They don't want them. So I don't know. I don't know. And the thing about it is for what this is going to sell for, the rumor is, and I can't find it anywhere online, the rumor is like $11 million. You got to do something pretty substantial to substantiate that much money. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. It's a slow process. There's a lot of new houses going on down here. It's starting to look better. It still looks like a war zone though.
And I was going to say, when I was talking talking to the defense attorney about real estate, about what people can do to protect themselves in a sense when they do get in a situation like this, and unfortunately said, well, you can't. Because coming on Fort Myers Beach specifically, on a beachfront condominium, you know, you're kind of, it's like a roll of the dice. You don't know if a storm's gonna come, you don't know what FEMA's gonna say, you don't know if the people who actually own the building can afford to fix the damages. So I mean, like...
I would have felt very comfortable owning this, knowing that it's all concrete, the way it's been constructed. It's right on the beach, and you know that historically the water's never been above a certain level, which Ian broke those records, but that building should have never failed. It should not have. It might not have been able to be cost effective to be rebuilt, but it should have never failed. It's got a concrete problem.
So you think that this will be taken down hopefully in the next month?
Our fantasy is we'll be done in 4 weeks. We're thinking 4 weeks with the machine, but when he gets this side of it done, we could start with, he's working on this side, we could start on that side with this machine. So we're hoping we can gain some traction with that.
And then is there anything additional you'd want to add?
Thanks for coming down and interviewing us. Any publicity is good publicity now. Well, I think this is cool. You don't see stuff like this very often. I did a bunch of heavy stuff in the military. We took aircraft hangars down that big and then took them down the runway and put them back up. But I've never torn down a concrete building like this, so it's kind of fun. It's a challenge. A lot of coordinating, and everybody's interested, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So we just did a live on our Facebook channel, or our YouTube channel. We did a YouTube live of the first crunch. It was kind of fun. Of course, we had spotty reception. So, well, thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You did great.
Nice to meet both of you.
Thank you.
All right, so this is day one. You see we're at about an hour. So Colton's about ready to take lunch. We're just chipping away at it. Right now he's just trying to get them staircases off the building, make the best of the building go a little faster, and that's pretty much it. Let me show you some other things. Be careful, Kenny, coming in here. Okay, so here's some things that happened after the hurricane. You see this in the concrete, okay? Now, was it built that way? Okay, now think about what's above this. This is pretty much the walkway, the most of the building. Look over there in the corner. You see how it was built that way? Nothing has compressed over in that little corner where it connects to the big tie beam. Okay, so that shows that it was actually built that way. Now the size of this crack, since we've been working on this building and they removed this big steel structure, it's definitely increased. This right here has increased by 1/2 inch. Okay, so basically this big piece of concrete, which has rebar running through it, is leaning out and getting pressure on it. Okay, so this over here is what caused them to say this building has got a major problem. Notice how they got the red mark on there? That red mark was to see if it was going to make some sort of a shifting change, and it hasn't since they put that red mark on there. Okay, so you've got that. That is a major thing. Let's look at the footers back here. Okay, so now this building built in 1978 was built to the code in 1978. So that's how deep the footers are for this building. Okay, in today's world, that's not enough. Now, I don't know that this column here, I don't know that it doesn't go down 30 feet. It could. It probably doesn't. Now, if you look over here and you look at this column here, it's not Columbus Square anymore, and you see the crack on it. So that's a stress crack. That's a tension crack. So now, is that just in the stucco? Could be. So if you look up here, look at the spidering going on all around in this concrete. Now this is why I think that the major reason that they took this building apart, this is failing. That crack right there shouldn't be that much of a crack. The spidering, not so bad, but that's a pretty significant crack for a building. Now the building got a lot of stress put on it because the water from the storm was coming in here and pushing on it, and it was astronomical, the amount of weight, the water rushing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
The neighbors were afraid the whole thing was going to fall down and hit one of their houses. And as you can see, it comes apart in little pieces. We knew that. We do this all the time. It's just going to be a little bitty chunk after little bitty chunks. It's rare that a chunk of this stuff's going to be bigger than 2x4. So, I mean, it would kill a person, but it's really not much weight. And you see where it goes straight to the ground. Now, while he knows he wants to get them shafts out of the way so that he can get closer to the building, and he's gonna do it. He's very systematic. He's looking at how it's coming apart, and he's using that to his advantage. So they'll say, okay, it's coming apart this way, so I can get away with doing bigger chunks. Bigger chunks means it takes less time to take it down. So he's looking at where are the key components and where it's going to come apart the easiest. And that's what he's doing. He's cutting those I-beams right in half with this. It's like a big, gigantic pair of scissors.
So, how much copper did you get out?
I took pictures of the copper at the shop today. There's about 4 or 5 garbage cans full. There's still a bunch of it that's still in this building that we're going to have to scrap as we go. It's just too hard to get, and we didn't have enough time. We only got the building to about 95% cleaned out. So there's scrap metal that's trapped in there right now that it's going to have to sort with the crane.
Let's go over and look at the other side. This is where the biggest problem in the building for me, in my opinion, and again, whether it's a concrete house or a concrete superstructure, a big structure like this, it's still concrete, it's still rebar. You still have the same failures. Certain types of concrete have been put together with certain kinds of chemicals that are from their area, and over time they have not held up. Concrete, if there's water present, will never stop curing, is what I learned when I was in engineering school in the Air Force. Now this is what should not be happening. okay, if you look, it's kind of like the concrete's going back to powder, okay? Now this is failing, okay? It's failing, and this whole first floor, we blocked off the two ends, which that's the one end, this is the other end. In the middle, we stayed out of the middle of it, and we're gonna do all that with machines. Now come over here and take a look at this. Now, in my opinion, with that much spidering going on, at one point in time, let's say you had 2 or 3 or 4 300-pound guys like me in your living room, this is the bathroom area. Now you're going to get some additional support in the bathroom area because of the walls above it, and the walls are carrying weight a little bit, not much, because in these units, they basically carry the weight from that tie beam to that tie beam, or that structural beam to that structural beam. And then they lay these big pieces of concrete in between them, and these big pieces of concrete are designed to easily be able to span this 20 feet and carry the weight of the concrete. Now these pieces of concrete have a big holes in them like this, okay? This is not stressed concrete. This is from 1978. So basically what I'm saying is this was failing already. What happened is the hurricane put a lot of extra stress on the building and made it come apart. And this should have never happened. This is the point that I'm making. The concrete being pushed on by the storm should have never been able to pull that apart. Okay, I don't care how much water there was. It should have never pulled that apart, but it did. So that made these guys aware that probably most of the rest of the building is the same way. Let's go upstairs, and I want to show you this from another perspective. So that, along with the other corner, the question marks about today's building codes versus the building codes in 1978, and the likelihood that these big concrete panels that constitute the floors are coming apart. That's why they're tearing this building down, because structurally this is failing. Okay, it's too dangerous. Yes, it had a hurricane pushing on it, lots of water pushing on it, pushing up, but it should have never been able to bring that apart. So that is what these look like, and that's the big tubes that go in between. And these have these steel cables running through them, and then they also have rebar running through them. But what's happening is that concrete's turning into powder. Is scrapping something like this with all this heavy machinery, is it worthwhile? Okay, well, we do things a little bit different than everybody else, and a lot of it's just people who really work. So if you have diligent people who work for you, you can do something like this. So all of these lanai openings here on this building had aluminum in them, and it would have taken too long for my guys and too much effort for my guys to pull them out manually. So we left it for the machine. So he'll have a total of about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, possibly 2 hours in getting all of this aluminum off of here. All this aluminum going into 2 of these dumpsters, you're talking $3,000 to $5,000 right here. Now he's gonna leave that here. He's gonna go start in the front. So far, we've taken out the elevator shaft. We've taken out both the staircases. We've gotten all the aluminum that it makes sense. Plus, it's good for the earth. You know, you're not throwing stuff into the landfill that's never gonna get repurposed. Colton, very experienced, been running that thing since he's like 13 years old. Been running excavators. He's addicted to it. He loves it. I've offered him a different position in our company that would pay more. He's a pretty sharp guy. He loves this. You know, and if you do what you love every day, you'll never work another day in your life. What'd you think? Did the elevator shaft come down pretty decent?
Oh yeah, everything's been super easy so far.
Yeah. So you think it's going to take us a whole month?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
As long as we can keep everything running.
Well, and that's the key. You know, yesterday this thing broke down on us. We had a hydraulic hose that broke, and that's just part of the game. So we could have let it take it to Monday and just not stop till Monday, but you know, that means machines 50 grand for the month. So we got to make sure we get this done within a month. So what's your plan? Where are you going to start?
Yes, sir, on this corner right here.
You're going to start all the way at the top in this corner?
Yep.
You're just going to bring it down, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down?
Sir. That's the plan.
All right, well, we'll get out of your way.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That claw, if you look at it from the side, it's got a hole. It almost looks like a dinosaur. That's a very unique thing. There's not a lot of them in the world. They're very expensive. So he's gonna lift that machine up and he's gonna start chomping on this baby at the very top. There we go. We're actually tearing the building down now. This is the actual building being taken down. Before, just the elevator shafts and the 2 staircases. Now, building down. We got the scrap metal that we could get out of the back. So those handrails all the way up this building, he's gonna pull them off, and if they'll come off in one piece, he's gonna put them in that dumpster. He'll pull those couple of windows from the first floor. We didn't pull them out because it was unsafe to get in those units. He'll pull them out and he'll put them in that same dumpster. So you gotta keep your scrap metal within a reasonable amount of time. You can't have too much time involved in it or you're really just burning money. So that building right there is about 65 feet up to that roof line. Watch just how that just crumbles that concrete like it's just nothing. There's rebar in that concrete. There is a significant post there, a very large post, and it just cut through it like it was nothing. Now we're going to see what the roof's made out of, if it's actually a metal roof or just a concrete roof up there. I never looked. We got everything out of it. We got all the windows out of it. We got all the doors out of it, all the hot water heaters that were newer, about 5 kitchens, a half a semi truck full of furniture. There was a church that came here and got several loads of stuff for their thrift store. And all that stuff takes time, and it definitely burns money. And at the end of the day, we're hoping that we're going to make a little bit extra money on this whole thing. That's the idea, to make a little bit money coming, a little bit money going. So it doesn't always work out the way you want it to, though. And this building here is, you know, it's not a normal for us. It's not scary to us or intimidating to us or anything. It's just, to us, it's just a really big house. And getting to play with these tools is kind of fun. This unique stuff. And I'm gonna step away a little bit further just in case. The hurricane damaged this building to the point where it wasn't cost effective to put it back together. So that's where we're at. So if you got any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. And
someone asked, if you finish in 2 weeks, do you get a credit?
we do, but if we get it done in 2 weeks and 1 day, it won't make sense to turn it back in. We were exploring that on the way here. Although we made a lot of progress yesterday, he's only been at it for what, 3 hours today? He's actually made a lot of progress. I don't know, we might get done with it in 2 weeks. Once it gets down to the level that you see right here in front of me, we can do that with the other machines. So we're at it. We're learning some stuff about the hydraulic hoses that's up inside of this this arm. The hoses, we had a couple of them bust out. They didn't seem to be able to handle the pressure. So we got some higher pressure ones, and we got some spares so that we're not down very much. We've been down probably 4 hours since we got started with it.
But he's going to town. There's no way it's going to take him a month to tear this down at this rate. He might have this down in a week. I don't know. But getting it hauled off too, you got to haul it off, and we got to take into account there's going to be equipment issues. It's rare that you ever have an excavator that runs for more than, say, 10 days and doesn't need something. So that's a bad mama jamma right there. You know, I don't see Colton getting excited about anything, but he is super excited about this. So you can see the benefit of us stripping those units out. So he's got very little C&D to deal with.
Yeah, he's moving through this fast.
And he's mulching through concrete like it's nothing. It's just amazing. So the hurricane windows that came out of this building are out in our warehouse in Bonita. It's 28381 Racetrack Road, Bonita Springs. If you're familiar with Bonita, where the Racetrack gas station is on Bonita Beach Road, on the west side of 75, that's Racetrack Road. And we're literally right across the street from where the old dog track was. So it's open from 7 to 5 every day, 7 days a week. And we have 25 sets of kitchen cabinets. We have normally 20 to 30 refrigerators, 10 or 15 stoves, all kinds of mini fridges, all kinds of vanities, sometimes 200 and 300 vanities. We're selling about 1,500 kitchen cabinet sets a year, so it's a good deal. We get the stuff for a reasonable price. We take it out of buildings like this. It's not free to take it out. I got to pay these guys, and we pay our guys good. And we get it out, and we turn it around and give a good price and repurpose it, keep it out of the landfills, and it's good for everybody. We keep more people working. We are repurposing things. They're not heading to the landfill, and we're making a little bit of extra money. So it makes sense for us. And this is, let's see, we tore down, this is like our 7th large complex in a row. So we've been getting a lot of the bigger complexes. I'm not sure why that is. We're the new kids on the block. Maybe we're stupid and we're doing them too cheap or something. I don't know. But we're doing a lot of them. And we stepped into this game. We were thinking about it, and it just made it. We just made a good choice. Just go ahead and do it. That's just amazing to me. I mean, look at that. He's just destroying this thing.
Look at that. I don't think it's going to take that long to get this building down.
So as you can see, this thing's going a lot faster than what we anticipated. This building's just not super sturdy. So we were thinking a month, you know, really that was 2 to 3 weeks of tearing it down and then hauling it away. So we haven't hauled anything away yet other than the metal. So as you can see, this thing's going pretty fast. It's probably going to be down far enough that we can do the rest of it with another machine. So he's just killing it. This is a very unique situation. That is a very expensive way to do this, but it's very effective, as you can see. A lot of the time, let's say we were using a wrecking ball. The wrecking ball, you're gonna have to beat the building. It's gonna create more dust. If we used a jackhammer, same thing. But with this scissor setup, it really works well. It just cuts through everything. And he just surgically is cutting certain places, and then like the whole floors fall down. That building right there, let's say it was 50 feet wide, it's only 20 feet wide now on this side. I would say before we go home tonight, there's only going to be this sliver left. The Moving Pros Demolition, we're having a blast. Hopefully you think this is cool. And that's it. So we're demoing on the beach. Look at that, isn't that amazing? It's unbelievable what these machines can do. So what do you think, Colton? Did you get a good job on there?
Done pretty good.
You put a good licking on it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see you. We're looking at you in there. You're just smiling bigger than all get out. But you got a natural smile on your face anyway. So, I don't know. I'm pretty impressed. We might save some machine room here.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah, you know, you never know with equipment. You never know what's going to break or what's going to come apart. But seeing this from down the street, it's truly impressive. It's just truly impressive to see how much destruction you could do in a day.
Yeah.
That's it. We'll see you tomorrow. His plan today was to do half of this from this side, half of it from the other side. Apparently he could reach far enough, so he's done like 3/4 of it from this side. If you look at the pink house or the green house, you think, oh my gosh, that's treacherous. We're really close to it. We're really not. If you notice, when you clip that stuff, it just falls. And we don't get really big chunks. And if we do get a really big chunk, it just falls. So highly unlikely that those houses are in jeopardy at all. So we did have someone walking up walkway earlier today. I was a little concerned about that. The beauty of this, getting it down as quick as we are, is because the water jets on the top of that boom, they're not really strong. So we're trying to get this down as quick as we can to keep the dust down. So once it's on the ground, it's so much easier because the water pressure doesn't have to be very high to keep spraying stuff as we're loading it into the trucks. So it's going to be a lot easier for us. So in about probably an hour, that all is going to be at this same level. So where we're at right now is we're going to finish up with this machine and they'll come get it in the next day or so. Then we're going to start with these machines. They will have to do some sorting, like there's metal doors in there, there's some doors in there. There's a little bit of construction debris because everything on the first floor we couldn't get in there. The floors were not safe for us to be in there. And so basically we're cranking along. For those of you that live close, don't like the dust, well, we're going to be able to control it a heck of a lot better now that we're down here and we got good water pressure.
Do you think you're going to get a better deal on that big excavator?
Absolutely. The guy from Company Wrench was here and they're going to charge us for a week. So we don't know what that is. Normally when you do something like that, there's a minimum. Okay, and when we paid for a month up front, so we're at their beckoning call. The guy was here. These guys are killing it. They're not looking to hurt anybody. They want future business. They've been very forward with that, you know. And with a video like this, we might get some more big buildings like this before you know it. So we're hoping.
How far away is the dump that they're taking the trucks to?
Hey guys, how far away is the dump we're taking the concrete to?
What's that?
How far away is the dump we're taking the concrete to?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. What's that in street mileage? Brockville Road. So 10 miles in?
I mean, 45 minutes, that's a load every 2 hours.
Yeah. So it's going to take a while. And then what happens on this beach at certain times of the day, the traffic gets all jimmied up because there's not enough off flow on the island.
how much concrete can fit in a dumpster. I thought that one was full, but it's not.
They can
full.
fill it. They can fill these concrete dumpsters completely full and not be over the weight limit.
Okay. And I guess the last question: when's the next one?
I have the same question. Well, you know, we had a string of very big buildings in a row, and this is the last really big one for now. Now we have bids in on a whole bunch of them around here, and hopefully we'll be the winning bids. The next one we got, I think, is the one off the San Carlos, right across the bridge here in Fort Myers Beach. It's the old, I think they call it the Shark Bar, is what it was called for a while. I can't think of the other one. It's right by the dual light that has 2 stop lights on each side. So that's the next one. I think the mayor's going to come along with us on that one, and we might let him tear part of the building down. I think it'll be fun for him and fun for us. And we will be back again tomorrow for probably an hour, but that's it for today.
Coming up on to Strandview here in a second. We're getting really close. We're cleaning up the project. We're weed eating. We're doing everything so it looks like it's freaking amazing when we're done. So basically what we're doing is we're pulling out those concrete columns. We're cutting them off. Joe's down here with the concrete cutting equipment, and they're leaving the superstructure that's underneath the ground. I'm thinking it's to hold the ground in place in case of another really bad storm, because this literally is right on the beach. The front door of your patio doors in the Strandview was like 100 feet, 150 feet, depending on where the tide is, to Fort Myers Beach.
All right, you hear that machine running? They're cutting rebar off, and basically you see all them columns over there piled up next to the machine. So basically what we're doing is we're cutting these things off, and we're cutting them off underground so that we're cutting them up from the infrastructure and getting ready so we could smooth the lot out. And this is what's left that needs to be done. We'll have a dumpster count before you know it. So as of Thursday, we will be done here.
All right, let's go upstairs and take a look at a couple of these floors that are coming apart from up there. So other things that are given out on this building, there's a couple of these stairs, I'm not sure which ones, but they're coming apart. The toe kicks are coming apart. Okay, so just looking at that, for us to poke a hole to put plumbing in here is one thing, but for it to make that much damage and just come apart by us moving around that pipe, because we didn't use any jackhammers or anything in this part of the building. We did use them on the windows. So this should have never happened. That little hole that they put in there for the concrete shouldn't make all of the rest of this come apart, okay? So I'm believing that the structural engineers, when they came in and said, look, you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't have this, you can't have that, okay? You can't have two concrete or two pieces of pipe coming through and making a big gigantic hole like that. You know, and again, 1978, this is 2004 or 2024, you know, it's just not holding up. Now this concrete here on these windows and stuff, perfect, fabulously. This is actually directly below where we walked under the first time, and looking at this is why we felt confident that we could walk under there long enough to show you this, because it's not reflecting to the building at all. It's only coming apart down there, and if you look down the wall here, you can see the wall bulging down there. Okay, it's just bulging just a little bit, but starting over here, and it's got a nice gentle bulge all the way around. Now, is that going to come apart? You see the crack way up here? Yes, it's going to come apart, but it's probably just going to be a big sheet of stucco falling off, because they cover the concrete so it looks uniform with stucco, and most likely, well, there's going to be rebar up here inside of this tie beam, rebar in that tie beam, so the building's not just going to fall apart. So you're back to these. So this is apparently just part of the design. So this first row all the way across, which ends up being the walkway, is just built that way. Okay, now you see the reflection here and the reflection there, and you're seeing that down there. So there is a little bit of movement. So here, not so much, but here, yes. And again, this concrete structure is built with rebar. There's rebar running through everything, and we know from tearing these buildings down, you got to beat on concrete to get it to come apart. It's rare that it just falls. You know, one of the neighbors down the street was afraid that like this whole side of this building was going to fall off. It's just not the way it works. When they build them like this, they build them to last. Even though this building structurally is failing, it's still very, 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 it's powerful enough to hold itself together, okay? It's not something that people want to deal with. As far as these panels, they'd be sitting in the living room, and the next thing you know, they're sitting on top of their car, you know, which is not what they want to see happen. So that's it. So it's Remove It Pros Demolition. We got our junk removal book is coming up soon. We're going to be promoting that, basically showing people how to take junk removal, put it together with repurposing, and you have a whole different business. It's how we started this business. Now we have evolved and gone into other things as well. We have like 5 different profit centers. So it's Dave Lockwood, Remove It Pros Demolition, explaining why I think we're tearing the Strandview down. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe and leave us a like. I will see you on the next video.